Hey everyone, welcome to the Classy Career Girl podcast. This is Anna Runyon, and today I am doing a little intro to today's episode to tell you we are going to take a peek behind the scenes. I'm going to pull back the curtain and share with you today what happens inside of my programs at Classy Career Girl. This is behind the scenes of what I have been doing and building for the past decade, all of my systems and processes, and I am going to be talking about really what we have developed over the past decade to help you reach our mission is helping women find career fulfillment, helping all women find career fulfillment. And what I'm teaching you in this training, so this is kind of a different sort of podcast today. These are actually a training I did inside of my class membership. So that's what I mean by peek behind the scenes. So you can see our programs, our services, our success paths, our trainings, and our systems that are designed to help us reach our mission. So, listen in, dive on in, and this is going to be a good one. I will see you guys later. Welcome, welcome. Everyone's rolling in. So, today, let me get you the notes. We'll share that as everyone streams in here. Let me get you these notes. We are today going to go through Love Your Career Formula. And so, if you haven't already, you should definitely book a one-on-one coaching session with someone on our certified career coaching team. It's so good to get personalized feedback and personalized support, especially, we were just talking about this on another call. Sometimes you have something you've been struggling with and that's holding you back and you've been staying stuck for a long time. And so a 30-minute call with a coach can get you clarity by the end. And so definitely take advantage of that. That's for anyone. And then we also have our group coaching call is next week. So once a month, at the end of the month, we do our group coaching call. And so that's where you can ask any question for me. So we have the form here that you can submit your question for next week. And then we also do a behind the scenes training as well. So next week's behind the scenes, I was just looking at it. I think it's about forecasting or so. I think I'm sharing like how we forecast our income or something like that. So it's about money in the business. So that'll be very interesting. And so those are fun. And then today we are not talking about CRP. We are talking about Love Your Career Formula. Hey, Jessica. So we are talking about the success path overview. Here, don't mind me editing on the fly here. So we are talking about, we've done every single month, we do a training on a different phase of the success path. So if this is your first masterclass, that you've joined with me, you might want to look at the recordings page on the membership site, and that will have a list of all of our prior trainings. Because I've done a corporate rescue plan overview, I've done a phase 0 overview, a phase 1 overview, and a phase 2 overview of corporate rescue plans so far. And this is really like the fast track. These are fast track videos. So if you don't have the time to sit and, go through all of the videos, you can just watch the recordings of one of these calls or show up live, and we can help you give you like the most important parts you need to know so you can start checking off the boxes. Today, we're starting Love Your Career Formula. So I have not done a masterclass on any phase of Love Your Career Formula before. So this will be good. We're going to go through, kind of give you an overview of Love Your Career Formula, which is kind of like my baby, another baby, my baby before my babies, because I created Love Your Career Formula first, way, way long ago. It was started as the Get Unstuck Boot Camp. And then it started as a 5-week course. And then I turned it into a 90-day program. And now it's a membership. It's this whole entire success path. There was no success path when I just started. So it's been in the process of improving it. And the whole training program is linked here. So this is just the overview after today. If you are on the job hunt or if you want any more resources, definitely start the phase 0 and start the phases of Love Your Career Formula. You don't need to do the core. So what we're going to talk about is really the core training in Love Your Career Formula. And then I'm also going to go through some interview resources for you as well too, to really help you with your interviewing. So let's dive into the success path for Love Your Career Formula. So Love Your Career Formula is the quickest and fastest way to find the career you were born to do, to be wildly successful at it, and to leave your lasting mark on the world. I created Love Your Career Formula because most people were jumping into resumes and networking and job searching, and they were just getting stuck. Or they were getting a job, but I saw this repeating pattern of just continuing to get stuck in the same job over and over again. Like, for example, I was in finance. So originally I just kept trying to find other finance jobs, even though finance was like, I was good at it, but it was just not my passion. I did not love my finance job ever. And so if I just continued for another 20 years, instead of making a pivot, I could have easily just stayed in finance for the rest of my career and been unhappy, gotten a paycheck, lived in just a normal a normal life, 9 to 5. My life would be very different, right? But instead, I decided, I want to figure out what that career is that I'm born to do, what my purpose is, what my passion is, what that ideal career path is for me. And that's kind of what it all comes down to. That's Love Your Career Formula will help you find your ideal career path. Or if you're in our career coach certification program, which we have a lot of our coaches on our call today, learning more about this formula, this is the path that you can help your clients with as well as a certified career coach. So when you're just getting started in phase 0 or working with a client who is in phase 0, you have no idea where to start. So this was probably you at some point. Maybe it was when you graduated college and you're like, oh, I have to find a job now. What do I even want to do when I grew up? You aren't even sure what your passion is. You're really frustrated. You are unhappy where you are right now. One of my top lead magnets was like the purpose guide. Like people really struggle with figuring out what their passion and purpose is. And you thought you'd be in a different place by now. That happens a lot, when I talk with like mid-career people in the workforce is, they've always wanted to be blank, but they've never known how to do that. And so they're really now starting to become in the process of figuring out what steps they need to take to be happy again. And so they're at that time of their life where they're starting to dream again. And this is a good step to be in because they're open to change and open to seeing a better career and a better future for themselves. And then we move to the phase 1 designer phase. So our designers are now motivated to change careers, but they're really confused about what type of career to start. They're scared. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of imposter syndrome. They're getting rejected by jobs left and right. They were applying online, spending all day applying to jobs, getting nowhere, and struggling to find enough time to make it happen. So a lot of people have a day job and then they're also trying to apply to jobs on the side. And so time is a huge issue. And so they're still just feeling really stuck at this point. But they're starting to figure out their purpose and their strengths and how those are going to all fit into their dream career and their ideal career. So they're starting to get a little excited about the potential, about the possibilities that are in front of them. Then my favorite phase is phase 2, which is the explorer phase. So you are an explorer if you still don't specifically know what career you want, you still lack direction and focus, and you're tired of being stuck in a job that doesn't fit you, but you're ready to find your career fit. Because in the explorer phase, we really, really explore. And this is how Love Your Career Formula started. It was basically the explorer phase. What we have right now in Love Your Career Formula is like the What's My Calling College, where we go through, what is your purpose? What are your interests that you've had since you were a child? What are your favorite skills? What is your mission? What's your ideal work environment? What are your values? What's important to you? There's so many things in What's My Calling College. And then by the end of that, there's a worksheet that gives you, that you kind of take all of your answers from the whole What's My Calling College, and you create your ideal career outline. So if you are a coach working with clients, by the end of this explore phase, they have something physical that has like a 1-page sheet of their ideal career. That is what we use then to move on to start job searching, because then they're clear, then they know what they want. After What's My Calling College, in the Dream Career Fit section, there's the section on informational interviews and starting to talk to people and network with people. So once you have kind of that ideal career outline, then we start the outreach process and we start to reach out to people. And we start with 20 careers that are interesting, and we start narrowing them down to 10, and then we narrow them down to 5, and eventually we get to 3, and we just start networking and doing informational interviews with people who are in those careers. And it really gives them the clarity and a process to follow, so that by the time they get to the point where they're ready to start the job searching process, they have that ideal career outline and they know what job to start to search for, because that's what we need by phase 3 when we move to the job searcher phase. And by the way, after phase 2 explore phase, some people decide they want to be entrepreneurs, and so after phase 2 they just kind of switch over to corporate rescue plan, which is the other main program that we have and the other success path we have. So if you feel like you don't know which path you're going to, or you're coaching someone who doesn't know what they want to do with their life, I always recommend starting in phase 0, moving to phase 2. And if it's a business, then we can help them in corporate rescue plan start that ideal business for them. They don't want to start a business. By the way, phase 2 does have an entrepreneur assessment. So in phase 2, you can take that assessment to figure out if you have the personality, if being an entrepreneur is right for you, and you can kind of get scored and kind of see if it is or isn't. So let's pretend it's not. We want to be an employee, which is awesome. We're going to go to the job searcher phase 3. Now we have an ideal career target, so we know what jobs we're going to apply for. And now we can really make the most of our job search because we're clear. We're going to show up better on interviews and during our networking. So you are a searcher if you know what your ideal career is and you are now ready to find it. You're ready to work on your resume and your cover letter. You are also ready to apply for jobs, expand your network, and practice those interview skills. And that's what we do in phase 3. So it's all about networking, resumes, cover letters, interviews, like all the things that most people skip phase 0, 1, 2, and they just go straight to 3 and work on their resume. Like, oh, I need a new job. Let me work on my resume. And that's not where we start here at Classy Career Girl. And then we move to phase 4. So we have our networking plan done in the job searcher phase. We help them with their networking plan because most likely the job is going to be found through networking and not through online applications. So we want to help them with their time management. We want to help focus their time and their priorities on networking. And then we also want to work on their resume with them so they're confident in that, and that's targeted to that ideal job that they want to go for. And they might have 3 ideal job targets, which is totally fine. So we would want to create 3 different resumes for them. And so maybe 1 week we only focus on one of those jobs and applying for only one of those jobs. Ideally, as soon as you can get to one main job that you're going for, that's going to help you with the results that you can get. And then connector phase. So in phase 4, we haven't gotten the job yet, but we're clear on the job. We have a great resume. We have our networking plan. And so now it's time to get interviews and expand your network. But this is where we have more advanced job search strategies to really help you take your career search to the next level. So this is where we really start working on LinkedIn, and all the other social media platforms, because you can get a job with Instagram or Pinterest, or obviously LinkedIn, TikTok. I mean, there's plenty of ways to use social media, or even your own website or blog or YouTube. All of those things can help you get a job. Someone's going to look online for you when they see your resume and when they're interested in you. So there's so many other job search strategies that we use in that phase then to help you get that job. So you get the job. Phase 5 is the leader phase. I built out the leader phase because I noticed once people got the job, there was still a really big opportunity to be able to support them and help them in that job. And I had a background in leadership coaching and executive coaching, and also I wrote a book about working with men. And so I brought that into phase 5, which for women basically, which is, you're a leader if you have a job you love, but you still want to get ahead. You want to raise the bar. This was kind of where I was when I was in my career. And you're ready to level up your career, get promoted, and achieve the success you know is possible for you. You know you want to make a big impact in the world, and you can't do it where you are right now. And so in that leader phase, we not only do we help you get the job, but then we support you in the next 90 days in your 90-day action plan, because there's a lot of things that you want to do in those first 90 days in your role that's going to help you set you up for success long term. Those first 90 days are the most important for your success in the future. So as a career coach, that's one of the common questions I get. Well, what if they get a job? How am I going to help them after that? Then it ends, they got the job. And I'm like, no, there's so much opportunity after that. We can help them with their planning and their productivity, their annual goals. We can work with them, on their networking plan within the company and help them, move and become a leader in the company and where they want to go long term. So I see your question, Susanna, this is a good time. So real quick though, this success path, and then I'm going to go to your question, Susanna, is a circle. And this is really important because this is kind of like a circular process. So people will get the job, go into the leader phase. 1 or 2 years later, they might want a new job, right? Or life changes, or a pandemic happens, or a new baby happens, or they moved, or they got married, or they discovered they loved a new hobby, or whatever it is, have a new interest in their life. So then we go back to phase 0, and there's nothing wrong with going back to phase 0 and kind of going through the process again. All of us who have pivoted in our career have done that at some time. Kind of go through, okay, life has changed a little bit. What is my purpose? What are my interests now? 20 years ago, I wanted to be, in corporate, and now I can't imagine myself in corporate. Like, life changes, your interests change, your values change, what you want out of your career and your work changes. And so it happens is I don't know if Josie's here right now, but, and I say Josie, Joanne, it's Josie and Joanne. So Joanne Camacho, I helped her find her dream career like in 2016. And then she came back last year and got certified as a certified career coach in our certification program. So that's just an example, right? Life happened. She had a baby. I had a baby. She came back. I had this new program, and it was the perfect fit for her based off how she was in her, where she was at in her career. So Susanna, what is your question?
Actually, I think you've answered it. On the leadership coaching, you said that's primarily for the first 90 days. Of course, then you can extend it out, you can extrapolate that out, but it's sort of intended for those first 90 days. I think I'd never realized that.
Yeah.
It's the onboarding, it's sort of that onboarding plan. So
It's
I can
not.
help you find
So,
the job and then onboard them. Oh,
okay, so it's two different things. I'm positioning this as we worked with a client, and maybe they wanted to end your coaching with them because they got the job, right? And that's where you can be like, I can still help you. First 90 days are really important, right? So that's kind of what I was like talking about there. But it's kind of like a perfect lead in to this section, these milestones, right? Because in phase 5, so let's start from the end. I started from phase 0. Let's start from the end. So because that's also where we're going. That's the vision that we're taking someone to as well when they start from phase 0 and go to phase 5. So these are all the things I put into my leadership coaching, the leadership coaching workbook that we have in career coach certification. Susanna, that might be something good to look at after the call. I can send it to you on Slack if you don't have it. But our leadership coaching workbook goes through all of these things with our leaders, right? So you can help them even after 90 days of that program. We can always be helping them invest in their key relationships. We can always be helping them identify what their priorities are in their job. A lot of times leaders get down in the weeds, right? And our job as coaches can help them see, oh, these are the most important things, not down here, right? So they need coaching for that. We can help them get some quick wins so that they can be seen, right? Because sometimes it's hard to stand out from the crowd and be seen by the leaders that need the people above you, right? That you need to be seen by, is to get those wins, to show that, you know, you have what it takes to continue to move up. We can help them with that. We can help them create their 90-day action plan. We can help them, you know, get some feedback. So, and take that feedback that they get from their boss or coworkers and put that into their plan. We can help them with their stress level and burnout and their work-life balance as well, too, right? Um, we can help them, like I said, with burnout. We can help them with their strengths. So I always, one of the trainings I have is helping our leaders see what their strengths are as a leader, and knowing that strengths, because sometimes it's hard to, you know, you don't want to like kind of be like the leader. I wouldn't want to be like the leaders I've had in my life all the time, right? There's some good parts in some of the leaders I've had, you know, and there's some not so good parts, right? And so sometimes when you're, you know, working with someone, we want them to know what their own strengths are and not try and like be like their boss, or, you know what I mean? Kind of be someone that they're not comfortable with themselves. We want to help our leaders create that vision for the future, where they want to go, kind of we can map out like their 3-year plan, so that they're looking for over the future, where what they need to do to get to their vision. We can help them with delegation, and focus on like what is most important. So a lot of the leaders that you might work with have teams. And so we can help them, like, you know, figure out what they should be working out, how to delegate, how to be a great leader to the people around them. We can help them, you know, a lot of it comes back with making an impact. A lot of the leaders I had in my corporate career, they gave back to me, right? They helped me a lot. And so, you know, that's a big why to a lot of the leaders that you might work with as well. And so we can help them kind of make that something that they have time for, because that's important to them. We can help them work on their ideal work week. So just like all of us if you've been in corporate rescue plan or our career coach certification, we've created your ideal work week. We went through, you know, this is how much time you have, and we did the time blocking. You can help them with that, and we can also help them make the salary that they want as well too, with salary negotiation and, like, you know, getting promoted. We can help them with just overall happiness. You know, some people just are stressed. A lot of times I've talked to people I just talked to someone yesterday, like an old friend from college. I could just tell she was just so stressed. She runs a business, she has 10 employees, and she's trying to figure out if she should like sell her company or but she's a leader. She's the CEO of the company, and she's just like burnt out, and she needs leadership coaching. If you want a leadership coaching client, if anyone needs a leadership coaching client, I can connect you with her. Because she needs, I mean, we were just doing a catch up because we hadn't talked in forever. So I didn't go into full coaching mode, because it was like a personal friend, but I could just really tell, right? She didn't have the same passion, excitement, energy as she had in college, right? She's just lost that. And so we can help the leaders with that, like kind of bring that back and figure out, you know, what are those things that really make them happy. Like I asked her, she's this amazing artist. And I was like, are you doing art? And she's like, no, I don't have time for that. I'm like, you know, I'm trying to ask the questions without like coaching, but I see it as a coach. So those are the things you can help your leaders with. Are you taking time off and spending time with your family? Like, what is their why? Is that important to them? Do they feel stressed out? Do they feel like they have no time for their family? Are they working all weekend long? Do their kids ever see them? You know, are they going for walks? Are they getting outside? Are they taking a lunch break? Like I used to like eat at my desk in my cubicle. I never took a lunch break. You know, like I look back and I'm like, I just literally sat at my desk from like 8 to like 5:30 and just like work, you know? And like I needed a coach. I needed someone to kind of make me see that I could like take care of myself. So these are all things we can help them with. We can help them eliminate unnecessary stress in your life. And if that's you too, that's like, go to phase 5 of Love Your Career Formula. If this is like a no, like go through these questions, yes or no. right? Because the goal really is for you to say yes to all of these things. So I just went through all the things in phase 5. We can help them in phase 5. We can help them as long as, they haven't completed everything in here. We can help you in Love Your Career Formula as long as, you have not checked off yes to all of these things. Okay. Does that help, Susanna?
Yes, thank you, Anna. It does. First of all, I'd be happy to connect with your friend
Okay, I will connect you
your
with her.
chemistry call. But this is really helpful because I think that even if you have contracted with an organization to help a leader, let's say they've got a specific goal around increasing the impact of their influencing, let's say, or some other goal, engaging their team, engaging their employees. I feel like this is a really good foundational piece to say, let's just make sure you're set up for success first. And we're going to look at these 4 areas: your work-life balance, your relationship with your boss, blah blah blah, and then you can get to that. So I really love this for that. It may be that these are their issues, but if they've got specific other goals, this feels like a really good, as I said, foundational
Yes.
plan to go through first to set you up for success, and then we can tackle those specific items.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And these are
thank
great
you.
questions you can ask your clients too, right when they start with you, to kind of see where they're at, right? Like, do you know what your strengths are as a leader? Oh, not really. Well, okay, that's something we want to work on during our coaching sessions. Um, or if you don't have a coach, it's going through Love Your Career Formula phase 5 and like going through the workbooks in there as well too. Okay, so we start with phase 5. I guess we'll just go backwards here. Actually, no, I'm going to start at the beginning because it feels weird to go backwards. But I loved your question because I don't usually talk as much about phase 5, but I love phase 5. So I love that you asked that question. So let's go back to phase 0. So the goal of the success path is we don't move to the next phase until we can say yes to everything on here. So a lot of people are like, I don't know what phase I'm in. And I always point them to this page, because you shouldn't go to the next phase until you've completed everything. So even if you're in corporate rescue plan, I would come to phase 0, 1, and 2. I mean, many people have done both Love Your Career Formula and corporate rescue plan, because phase 0, phase 1, and phase 2 of Love Your Career Formula is what you were saying, Susanna, is also the foundation as well. So some of your leaders, you also may want to take them back to some of these questions in phase 0, phase 1, and phase 2. They may not be job searching, but phase 0, phase 1, phase 2 will also give them that foundation that they might need to get the success and to reach the goals that they really want. So phase 0 is the basics. That's like, the start of a career change, which is like, what is success to you? Have you identified what success means to you? To a lot of people, it might be a ton of money, to other people, it might be to have time freedom to spend time with their family. What is success? Is it the big corporate job and becoming CEO and being on TV and in, a magazine, or being on Oprah, or, what does success mean to you? So by the end of this, we can get you to where you want to go. Have you made a mental commitment to launch your dream career no matter what? So we want to make sure right from the beginning that you're committed, that you want to make this career change. And then have you made a list of potential career ideas? So in the beginning, it's really important just to get the ideas out. A lot of times, and this is what our coaches are so great at helping ask you questions so that we can get those ideas out. Because a lot of times when people start a career change, there's career ideas in there, but they've always pushed them aside because they're like, oh, that's not possible, or I couldn't do that, or I would never be able to make enough money being that. And so we want to get rid of all of the like what ifs. A common question I always ask people is like, what would you, where would you be at the end of the year if you couldn't fail, right? If everything was going completely according to plan and perfectly, where would you be by December, by the end of this year? And that helps people really think, okay, like if it was a perfect year and I could reach my goals, here's where I would be by the end of the year. And that usually gives us some direction to start going towards those areas. Have you identified the priorities in taking control of your calendar? So we can't make a career change if we don't take control of our calendar. I remember exactly where I was one day where I was like, okay, I'm officially taking control of my calendar. I am done like going from meeting to meeting to meeting and letting other people like decide where I should be and when I should be. And like, I'm going to take control of it. It's my calendar. Things are going to go on there that I want to do, not just what my boss wants. And so it's like a defining moment when you realize like, okay, I'm in charge. This is my calendar. I'm going to make it. I'm going to put the things in there that I need to have done. You guys don't even want to see my calendar right now because I have like a full day calendar of like homeschool and like, we have like, I have 3 kids. So, and one of them is like 9, so she can help with chores. So I have like this whole chores thing and like, I have it like, I am in control of my calendar. Doesn't always go perfectly. But it's so important because now things are actually, because there's a calendar, things actually get done. And because it's written down, things actually get done. But when it's just like, oh, we should do that sometime, it doesn't get done. So the other thing is positive affirmations. So right from the very beginning in phase 0, we really want to get the mindset ready and positive and repeat those positive affirmations. And we give our job searchers and our entrepreneurs like a list of affirmations that they can use to repeat every single day. So it's really, really important if you're coaching someone who's just feeling stuck in a rut, or if you yourself are feeling stuck in a rut, go to phase 0 and get our affirmations and, write those down yourself and repeat them every day. So if you answered yes, then we can go to phase 1. Phase 1 begins with our fulfillment circle. So that's the action that we do there where, and if you've ever been on any of our planning workshops, I kind of do this during our planning workshop in the very beginning where we evaluate your fulfillment factors. So we go through all those areas in your life. Career is one of them, but there's a lot of different areas in your life that lead into your fulfillment. Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it your health? Is it your mind? Whatever it is, all of those things are part of that fulfillment circle. So we want to evaluate everything to kind of figure out where we need to focus. And then we have the goal triangle as well. So that's a really good strategy to list like everything all the actions you can take. I know Sarah, I don't know if Sarah's here today, but Sarah mentioned this on another call I was on earlier. Oh, Sarah, you're here. So Sarah posted a win. She's one of our alumni of our career coach certification program, and she posted a win. And she said that she's celebrating that the things she has control over, right? The actions she's taken, because she's made some great actions. And so she's starting to celebrate the results of those actions. So the goal triangle really is like, these are the actions I can take. And then the other side of the triangle, you're putting like, these are the things that are out of my hand that I need additional help with, whether it's like someone I meet somewhere, or I'm going to like, there's going to be a magical Facebook ad in front of me, or a website's going to appear, or a TikTok's going to appear, or God's going to, put something in front of me that I need. These are all the things that I need. So you can kind of list all that out, because really to get you to the goal, it's kind of like the combo of this. So the other thing is, have you identified why you want to make a career change? And have you created your vision? So this is where we do that vision journal in our 90-day planner. So we have that vision journal and we have identified why, because as we keep going through the phases, it's not going to be super easy. So we just want to make sure we know why and where we're going. Okay, and then phase 2, which I mentioned before is my favorite phase. So you can go to phase 2 once you've said yes to everything in phase 1 and everything in phase 0 and phase 2. So this is where the clarity comes when I coach my clients through this. We'd go through phase 0, we go through phase 1, and then after phase 2 is when it's kind of like light bulbs, and they get excited after phase 2 because they have confidence and they have clarity of where they want to go next. And so phase 2, the personality assessment I always do is the Strengths Finder assessment, so that they know what strengths that they have so that they can kind of focus in on those careers that are going to help them utilize those strengths. I work with clients to get so that they get feedback. So we want to make sure that you're getting feedback from others to identify what those natural talents are that you do really well. So this was like, I used to do this in my old job. Like I would just send my boss an email, and we have the template in phase 2 as well. Just says like, hey, I'm looking for feedback for my work. Like, so that you can start to get feedback to identify like what things you do well that you don't like. It takes other people like a lot of work, but you do it so naturally. So we want to know those natural talents. We talk about your mission in here. We identify our ideal workday, another one of my favorite exercises to do, the ideal workday, because when you know what that ideal workday is, then it's a lot easier to find a career that fits that. So we're starting with what we want. A lot of people make the mistake and they start going to jobs online, right? They go to job descriptions, and that's like the opposite way. You're starting with like, hey, here's a job description. Here's all the things we want in a person. But this puts you in the perspective of like, I'm going to create my ideal life and my ideal career and my ideal workday, and this is what I want it to look like. And then when you get busy, you can go back to this and remember, oh, I actually wanted to like do some yoga in the morning, or I actually want to work for a bigger corporation with a large, office. And you can kind of map up then companies you're applying for and how those are going to fit with your ideal workday. We also talk about your interests here. So your interests are those things that you've had since you were a child. So we do a lot of work here, going back to your childhood and going back to like those things that you really enjoyed as a child. I give my example of me and one other girl. I was the leader of the Save the Earth Club. We had a Save the Earth Club, and like I was already kind of like leading, right? I was already kind of like creating communities and clubs and trying to impact and help others. And so you can see how that that was when I was like 9. I mean, maybe I was my daughter's age when I had that, but I'm still doing similar things and have similar interests today. I was also, the other one I love to share is people always would ask me questions about like, how do I get into college? Or, I was just kind of like, I always liked answering questions and helping people when I was, younger. And now I'm doing that today. So we do that with the clients. We kind of look back at their interests. We help them identify their values and which are really like their motivations. So what motivates them now, especially if they've been through a major life change. We want to reevaluate what motivates them now. We want to identify not just their skills, but their favorite skills that they love doing. Then we also want to identify their ideal work environment. We want to create these work experience stories. We want to take, their work experience and put them into stories that we can use on their resume or during interviews. And we want to start researching career fields. We want to complete 4 informational interviews in phase 2. And we want them to complete the entrepreneur assessment as well too, to see if they want to be an entrepreneur. Once phase 2 is complete, now we're ready for phase 3. So have you created a networking action plan? Like I said, networking is how they're going to find that job most likely. So we want to create a networking action plan. We want to start adding networking activities to their calendar that are focused on their ideal career, which we now know because we completed phase 2. We want to make sure they have the right keywords that should be on their resume. We want to make sure that they've gone through their skills, their accomplishments, and their knowledge and we've, put those things into their ideal resume. So it's a resume that they're excited about. I think that's the magic point when you have a resume that you feel so proud of, that you like can't wait to give to people. And that's the kind of resume that we want to provide our clients in Love Your Career Formula. And that's going to be the one that gets them the job, not the one that they're just like, okay, I'm just going to ship this off to like 100 places. So that we also want to make sure that they have a tailored cover letter with those same keywords. Now we know what keywords should be in their we know from the job description what those keywords are that need to be in their resume, and the keywords that need to be in their cover letter, keywords, that need to be there so that they can stand out and apply for that key job description. So we're not just like sending one resume to a million different job descriptions. I would much rather have them apply a lot less than probably what they're doing right now. And they're actually going to be, usually people are happy to hear that. So we also want to get at least 2 references at this point. We want to create a portfolio. So we want to make sure, whether it's online, digital. I know LinkedIn has this capability now where you can make a kind of a portfolio on and share like things on your LinkedIn. So that's a great idea. Could be a website, it could be like an Instagram page even, where you share pictures of all your great things that apply to the job you really want. We want to be ready with the thank you letter template so we can have it all ready to go to send once we have our interviews or once we start doing a lot of networking. We want to have prepared answers to our top interview questions. We want to have it clear what your ideal salary range is, because we know that question is coming. So we want to be prepared to answer that question. And we also want to be doing practice salary negotiation as well. So we're ready for that as well too. So you can see all these things. We are going to be more than ready for the interview and more than ready to get good results on even if it's just like a first phone interview or anything like that. We're going to be able to show up our best after you can say yes to all of these things. Phase 4 then is really focused on taking it to the next level with additional job searching strategies. So we want to make sure now we're thinking outside the box in phase 4. So maybe there's new skills and experiences in the field that you really want to go into. So maybe there's some training, maybe there's some books to read, maybe, once you've done your informational interviews, one of the common questions is like, are there any books you recommend, or is there any trainings recommend? Like, what are my next steps, basically? And they tell you, oh, you should get this certification, or you should get, you should take this class. Oh, there's a really good training on YouTube or something like that. Or, oftentimes it's not go get another degree. Usually you don't need to go get another degree, although that's what most people think. Usually there's a lot of ways that you can get free or very low cost training online that then we can start adding to your resume. We're also going to add in some more advanced networking strategies here. There's some additional ways to really stand out. So we're going to kind of think, like I said, think outside the box here to get in front of that client, especially through like a referral or networking. We're going to evaluate our current online reputation. We want to make sure, when someone Googles us and someone looks at our LinkedIn, that it's showing where we're applying for and where we want to go. It's not outdated. So we want to have that updated LinkedIn profile, thinking through other ways that we can use social media strategies to job search and to stand out, to connect with our employers as well. Most companies are on a lot of different social medias, so it's really a great way to stand out is to interact with them on social media. And then, have you been hired at your dream job? That is the last question to get out of phase 4 and move into the leader phase, because that really is our goal, to get them through this process so that they get hired and then they move into that leader phase as well. I love talking about this. I haven't gone through all this. I miss my job search coaching days, but now I get to help other career coaches go through this as well too. So it's exciting. But just as the last note here then, and then I'll take your questions. But these really are the phases, right? So if you're going through Love Your Career Formula, first you're starting in Dream Career Launchpad. You're reviewing the success path, which we already did today. So you can basically skip the core section, move straight into the Dream Career Launchpad, which kind of covers those most important foundational things. That used to be a course, by the way. I used to sell, if you're wondering about digital products, I used to sell Dream Career Launchpad in phase 0. It's a 5-module course, very short videos. I used to sell that, an earlier version, so it's actually an updated version now, for $97. That was like my main introductory product for a long, long time. Some of you may have actually bought it. It worked really well. And so that covers like time, purpose, your direction. A lot of the things I was seeing people were really struggling with right from the beginning, so that I can get them that first step complete. And then phase 1 is prep school. So that's just really kind of getting you ready. Phase 2 is what's my calling college, which is that key section to go through to figure out your interests, your skills, your motivations, your values, all those really important things. And then Dream Career Fit, that's where we start doing the informational interviews, really start taking the 20 ideas down to 10, down to 5, down to 3, kind of like going step by step through that process. Phase 5 in Love Your Career Formula, we have Network Your Way to a New Job. We have the resume makeover class, and we have review Ace Your Interview and Get Hired class. So we're working on those three things: networking, resumes, and cover letters, and interviewing, getting hired. If you're still not hired, then we take it up a notch in phase 4. We do more advanced job search strategies. We really think outside the box. We start using social media to stand out in online media, and do more advanced networking strategies. And then phase 5, we conquered the first 90 days. We get the job, we conquer the first 90 days. And then there's leadership class in there. And that really is what you were talking about, Susanna, of like after the first 90 days, then there's the leadership class, which is like all the other things that come with being a leader. So welcome to Love Your Career Formula. Do you guys have any questions? Who loves StrengthsFinder? Lori, I used it for my entire team. So good to do with a team. I love it too. Jessica says, I had a mock interview with a client. Oh, right before you got here. Glad to be here. And Sarah says, what do you think, Anna, of presenting the success path first page in the sales script, not the milestones? Yeah, so Sarah is one of our certified career coaches. So as a certified career coach, she can actually use Love Your Career Formula with her clients. And that's kind of like an offering she can have as a certified career coach. So very cool. So when that's what I do, Sarah. So when I do a webinar for Love Your Career Formula, or when I do a sales call, if I am recommending this for someone I'm talking to, I walk them through this. Yeah, just the first page. Because, and some of you may have been on a call like that, I do that for Corporate Rescue Plan too. So if I think that if I'm on a sales call and I think the best program for someone is one of these success paths, whether it's Love Your Career Formula or Corporate Rescue Plan, this is exactly what I do. Big picture, we just walk them. This is like my system, right? Or the system you can use. And so, yeah, you just walk them through high level. This is where you are now. A lot of times I do like, this is where I think you are now. It's kind of like my recommendation. Here's my system. Here's my framework. From going through this, I think that you are probably at phase 2. I think that you have done a lot of foundational work. You have your time figured out. I just talked to someone else the other day and she knew exactly what she wanted. So I think, just going back to phase 2, just making sure that you have gone through that checklist, that you have written down what your ideal career outline is, you have it in front of you. So it's a lot easier to give your elevator pitch, and, it's a lot easier to have that interview because you know how to introduce yourself. So yeah, that's a great strategy, Suzanne, or Sarah. I would definitely share your screen with them so they can see it visually and walk them through. This is, if you join Love Your Career Formula, this is the path you're going to go through, and this is where I'm going to get you. Susanna?
I think I've asked you this before, Anna, and we can't change that in any way, right? We have to keep the integrity of the Classy Career brand and use the model as is.
Yeah, I mean, would you change, like font, or you would change words?
Yeah, and I was wondering, can we change it? You can't put your own branding or anything on it. You can't add anything to it. Like, you have to use it completely as is. I'm wondering if you can put your own brand elements on it or not.
Yeah, I
Like, do
mean,
you
we
have
can
to?
talk about it.
Yeah.
You can show
Okay.
me what you have. Like, that happened to Nicole too. Like, she took, like, I think part of another module or whatever, and she put it in her branding. But the one thing to think about is, like, it's actually a positive thing that, you're certified and able to walk them through this. So I think I mean, we can talk about it on Slack. You can tell me what you're thinking of doing, but because yeah, there's definitely ways that you can make it like probably a better presentation for your ideal client while still saying like, because I want it to promote you, right? Like I want it to be like, I've gone through training, I'm certified to be able to walk you through, this framework as well too, because that makes you stand out. It's not like, oh, I created this, and I just made this yesterday. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think we
What
can
is
figure it out.
one thing that I have is because sometimes I do end up coaching men, and I'm actually going to end up changing my own branding because my branding is finding like her, and I'm going to end up changing it because I have men. And so classy career girl, I'm wondering like how I can use it. That's primarily the issue for me is how do I get away from the female thing?
Yeah, I mean,
If
this one, the main thing is love your career formula. There's no classy career girl in that. You know what I mean? So you're a certified career coach, you are certified, to help to walk people through love your career formula. I think we have men in my programs. I've always had men. I've never like, so it's not, and if you can see, we tried to make it not as like a lot of our branding colors we used to be a lot more pink. I will tell you that. For those that have been around, we used to be like very, very pink. But our new branding is a little bit less. I mean, I don't think that it's that, I think you can say, it's not, the leader phase though, I will say, I mean, a lot of it is, some of it does talk more towards women too, but I mean, everything can be made for men too.
but the logo class, it says classy career girl, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. That was my question
So it's
around that.
I mean, it's by Classy Queer Girl. You're certified by Classy Queer Girl, but I mean, nowhere will you find on my website that says only women can join,
Yeah, yeah.
but we can figure it out. We'll make it work for you.
Thank you.
I mean, it could be as easy as just like removing that section, because the main thing
The
is the
other
main
thing is
thing, this love your career
it's
formula.
yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Good question. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? The only other thing I wanted to point you all to, while, type in your questions if you have any right now, the only other thing I wanted to point you to is, I think I may have mentioned, I forgot on our last calls, but we do have a toolkit for Corporate Rescue Plan and Love Your Career Formula. And so this is like all the resources in the program into one section. So for like our job searchers or our coaches, this is a really handy tool template to have handy. All these templates for job searchers, we have like the best resume template ever, the ultimate resume checklist, the best cover letter template, a cover letter checklist. These are things you can use if you're job searching, or if you're one of our coaches, you can use this with your clients. Any of these, it could even be like a bonus, right? If you join now, you can get my, any of all these things are possible for you guys too. So we have that. These are all in the program, but I took them out and just put them on one, right? I added them to this page. So it's a really good resource for you. And then we also have the Ultimate Entrepreneurs Toolkit as well too. So that one has more resources, for starting your business, or if you're specializing in business coaching, for certification. Lots of good stuff there. So that's there. The other thing I wanted to point out is we also have interview training. So if you are going through the success path or preparing for an interview, make sure that you use our interview training guide. Make sure that you use the resources we have to help you with that, especially when it comes to, we go through the ultimate interview prep guide. And so in that, it goes over like how to answer the top 10 interview questions. And kind of gives you ideas about that. So that's definitely how you want to prepare for your interview, is being ready for those 10 questions. And then really what happens is after you have studied and practiced those 10 questions, you'll be ready for any question, basically, because you never know what question you're going to get. But if you prepare for those 10 basic questions, you're going to be ready for whatever question comes your way. Okay. And that is all I have. Does anyone else have any other questions for today? Anna will figure it out. If you shared the Google Doc agenda from today, can you please post it again? Yes, of course I can. Let me do that so that you have access to all of the links. There's not a ton on here, but at least it'll go through the success. It'll link to the success path. So what's coming up? So we're going to be going through, over the rest of the year, we're still going to go through all of corporate rescue plans. So, we'll go through on these master classes. We just take like one phase and just dive into that phase to help you move through that phase. So now that we've done the overview of Love Your Career Formula, the next time we talk about Love Your Career Formula, we'll just specifically talk about phase 0 and how to get past phase 0 and the steps that you can take. So you could definitely, if you're just starting, get through that in an hour. We can knock that one out really, really fast. And then we'll just kind of go through it. So over the rest of the year, you'll be an expert in all things Success Path, Love Your Career Formula. We're doing Corporate Rescue Plan. We're also going through the plan course step by step as well. So if you're in our certification program, you have access to the plan course. If you're in class, it's a bonus if you join on an annual basis. But that is our planning system and our productivity system that kind of walks you through annual planning and 90-day planning. And we're going to walk through all of that this year as well too. So my goal is every month we're doing that master class on like one phase of either plan, corporate rescue plan, or Love Your Career Formula. So it's a lot of fun to revisit all this stuff. I think we're done. So thank you everyone for joining, and yay, awesome. Okay, so I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks, Sarah, for being here. Thanks, Jessica, Candace, and Elena, and Zoom user, and Sarah, and Susanna, and Lori. So good to see you guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Bye, everyone. I like that blazer, Jessica. That is pretty.
Thank you. It's my
Yeah.
brand color, so I was like, oh,
It's your
I'm gonna
brand colors. It stands out. I love it. Awesome. Okay,
Love it
bye,
too.
everyone.